Welcome to SA Current Affairs, the show that aims to inform you and update you about the latest political developments in South Africa. Today we are celebrating the South African voter who went to the voting station on May 29, 2024. This voter has played a very critical role in the shaping of our democracy by ensuring that there is accountability and control measures to monitor the actions and conduct of public officials. Politicians are entrusted with the responsibility to improve the welfare of communities by providing essential services with public money, taxes. Services like water, education, health, and so forth. Without these control measures, we'll end up having wasteful expenditure. Hence, we are thanking all the voters who went to the voting station on the 29th of May 2024, because you have really made a huge difference. We are having this government of national unity today is because of you.
Process.
Our vote is something that we fought for, so I will definitely wait here for as long as it takes to vote.
Here on Robben Island, the same prison that once held Nelson Mandela, Bongeka Nglanga voted for the first time.
Freedom was, I can say, birth in this island. So being here and voting here is just such a great thing ever.
While passing without serious incident, the day was still checkered by protests, power outages, and lengthy technical delays, as voters also became confused over the amount of choices available.
I'm very happy as long as the ANC is not running the Gauteng government by itself.
Into ebalulekileyo ukuthi xa kuzaphinde kuphathwe ngoku after lama vote makwenziwe mayithi xa iphuma imali maziphume imali zokuba zisize umphakathi zokuba zilungise imisebenzi kwenziwe follow ups.
As a confident voter, as I feel about the coalition that is going to be formed after the elections, I feel that it's going to be something good, especially in a time where we live now, where the residents of Gauteng, most of us, we are struggling. So I think to have a coalition with other parties, it will make the party that's going to be in power, I think it will make it a bit stronger. And then we can find out after that, we will see what happens after that. But with coalitions, we feel that it's going to be something good.
Voting is very important. Rather than just venting on social media or protesting, voting is still the best way to make your voice heard and make a positive input on the issues that concerns you. As we move along, we have decided to solicit data from SABC about the graphic presentation of the election results so that you can have a better understanding of how these important voters that we are celebrating voted. They've given ANC 6 million. They've given DA 30 million. They've given Umkhonto about 2 million voter results. Take a listen to this important graphic presentation.
All right, to get a better understanding of how the election results have been coming in, let's now show you a graphic representation of, some of the data that has been coming through. We're going to start with the ANC. The ANC so far has garnered 40% of the votes, and that's about 6,119,000 and I suppose 354 votes that have been garnered by the ANC. Coming in at over 96%, the voting districts completed, and the ANC's vote currently stands at 40%. And with most of the results now in, the ANC will have to contend with sharing power with some of the allies and some of the alliance partners that have been in bed with over the past elections. Let's now take a look at how the DA has fared with 3,304,557 votes. The DA is now on 22% of the votes. And as I've said earlier on, of course, this graphic might change as the votes are still being captured. About 96% of the votes are being counted already. And the DA support appears to have grown in this election, with the party having regained votes of white people who have backed the party, to its right in the last election, and some black people who felt it needed to be given a chance in the national government. And now the new kid on the block, the MK party, having garnered 2,249,799 votes, that's a translation of 15% of the votes, being led by the former, well, I wouldn't say a former member of the ANC, because former President Jacob Zuma still hasn't indicated whether he is part of the ANC or not. But they've been doing very, very well in terms of being a new party and having won the hearts of South Africans. And especially in KwaZulu-Natal, the party has done really, really, really well. All right, let's now take a look at the individual profiles of the parties. President Ramaphosa is still pretty much at the helm of the party, and with 6,119,354. Now, these votes are definitely not enough to stay in power and win a majority. So the ANC has lost the majority. It's now unofficial, of course, that they've lost the majority. So now they have to contend with sharing power with some of the smaller parties.
Indeed, the South African voter of 2024 have made such a big difference in terms of setting the tone for future elections that will be coming. It is setting the tone in a sense that politicians now, they will know that the power rests with the voter. And this can only be good for democracy. Hence, we are saying heads off to the voters. The results of the national elections of 2024 in South Africa, they did not only bring political freedom, but they have also brought in economic excitements from the markets. Even the markets, the rand have gone up and so forth. Contrary to what the analysts have been saying, some of the most respected and prominent leaders in our society, like Thuli Madonsela, Thuli have said that we must put political consideration before economic consideration. That cannot be right. Economic considerations and political considerations, they go hand in hand. You must balance both. You cannot say political considerations is more important than economic consideration, or you cannot say economic consideration is more important than political consideration. Let's listen to the markets in terms of their view based on the outcome of the election.
Stocks on the JSE have opened firmer in line with higher global stock, or the local markets remain volatile, though, with investors keeping a close eye on the coalition talks that are taking place in this country following last week's election, which saw the outcome fail to produce an outright winner, an outright majority for any political party in government. Let's make sense of what the way forward looks like, if we dare. Our economics editor here at the SABC is Tepo Mwai, who's with us here in studio. I say if we dare because very few people know what's likely to unfold in the next 2 weeks. But let's just begin with just getting a general sense of how markets responded during the election itself. I know there were jitters, and how things are seeming now after 9 o'clock.
Absolutely. I mean, you remember Thursday we've seen a lot of blood on the floor with a lot of stocks falling sharply, 1%, 2%. But we've seen some retraced coming through on Friday, with some starting to gain. The rand also, I mean, we didn't touch 19 rand, and some people were saying perhaps we could touch 19 rand to US dollar. But if you look at the current levels, of course, 18 rand 80 to the US dollar, we're not far from that. And of course, 19 rand will be a psychological level, a very important level if we break above that level. But of course, the volatility still remains. Good news is that we've seen that positive momentum that was starting to build up on Friday. It's coming through. Even today when the market opened, the all-share index up almost 1%, 1.1%. A lot of support coming through from the financial stocks, the likes of Standard Bank up over 2%. And we've also seen the rand hedge stocks, likes of Naspers, which carries a lot of weight on the JSE, and that's able to also bring in some positivity in the markets. It's up sharply, about over 3%.
Sure.
So, the questions that have been asked have not been answered. The concerns have not been dealt with. Those issues remained, and I do expect that the local market will be volatile. We could see any move either way, depending on what's the outcome of these negotiations with the coalition partner, or the government of national unity, as they call it.
Right. And, it's difficult to kind of gauge how the markets, or what the markets prefer, right? Because there are a number of scenarios being thrown out there, right?
Sure.
The ANC, we know, is the popular party, certainly not a majority, but they could either go with some kind of grand coalition with the DA that has its own set of permutations, or this concept of forming some kind of alliance with the MK party and the EFF. Is it clear how the markets would respond to either of those, or does it come down to the nature of that coalition and perhaps even the policy positions that they take?
I mean, one thing is that the market will definitely react negatively if there are any radical changes in terms of policy directions. And of course, the constitution is sacrosanct. It's very important. It's key. That remains in terms of what has been agreed on. So there are, of course, in terms of the medium-term policy framework that the National Treasury has pronounced during the budget. There are a lot of commitment that government has made, and certainly if you change that, that is going to create a lot of nervousness in the markets, because they are holding government to deliver in order to put the local financial policy framework and budgets on a sustainable trajectory. We certainly know that our budgets and our finances are not where they should be. So that is very, very important. The work of the Reserve Bank, of course, needs to be respected, and that will also bring a lot of confidence in our local markets.
Yeah, that's important, because one of the parties calling for the Reserve Bank to be nationalized, and I'm sure if that were to happen, there'd be a great response. We also heard the latest repo rate announcement on Thursday. However, after this election, at least from where I was sitting, you certainly got a sense that a whole lot more political parties are measured in how they respond to the outcome. There's been a call to accept the outcome by and large, barring a few organizations. That kind of response must bode well for investors who are watching where this country might be headed.
And I think partly is the reason why we're seeing this improvement in the local markets, the performance that we've seen in the local markets, because there is some kind of belief that perhaps things are not as bad as they were made to be. The parties can find each other, but of course, all
elections have consequences. As we can see, the consequences of these elections, they have brought excitement to the markets. They have also brought hope to the communities. Hope in terms of job creation, hope in terms of better education, in terms of better health, hope in terms of the economy recovering, hope also in terms of seeing South Africa prospering. Thank you for watching. Please share your views, comments, and insights below.